All right, all right. Sorry for our tardiness, guys. Can you guys hear me? All right, guys. So, welcome to our Just Hill Bro series. Starting tonight, I have my good friend Robert Coates, who's going to be joining us. And so, I just want to make sure. Can you guys hear me? Okay? And if you can, just put up a hand or a thumb or whatever. And we're gonna. Okay, cool, cool. So tonight, this starts our Just Hill Bro series where all month of June, I'm going to be bringing on brothers. Okay, Rob is ready now. So Rob, send me a invite, my brother, and then we'll get started. So this series is going to be for men to help brothers. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. We're going to talk about manhood, fatherhood. I'm sorry, and then also we're going to get deep tonight and talking about some childhood experiences. And so we look forward to having everybody on. All right. Waiting on you, Rob.
You good? You hear me?
What's up, brother?
What's up, man? You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. What's going on, man?
I'm great. I'm great. It's kind of dark. Man.
Yeah.
Like,
Listen, we dark skinned brothers. Tell them to put some light on you,
I
man.
know. Let me get some light real quick.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah, I like that, man. This is weird because it's almost like I'm looking at myself.
I know, right? Swing. Swing.
Yeah, it's almost like I'm looking at myself. So,
A little bit more lit.
all right. So, all right. Again, I want to welcome everybody to the Just Hill Bros series. We're going to get started. Again, this is my brother Robert Coates, and tonight this starts our first series, talking about manhood, fatherhood, and healing, and what healing looks like. So, I'm waiting on these guys to get started. Can y'all get your light together?
It's always like this. We need to practice. We need to prep
Yeah.
up there. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
Okay, they say I sound far.
Yeah, come on. Yeah.
Well, Rob.
Yeah.
Put a little mic in.
We just y'all know how black folks are.
Oh, I can't hear.
All
I
right.
can't hear him now.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That sounds
Oh,
great.
this is what's going to.
Yeah. I can hear you now, man.
Okay. Can you hear me okay? Okay.
Bring it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if my mic's dark. So,
Hey, bring that mic back out because I can hear you better with the mic out.
Okay. But
The
I
mic.
can't hear you. No. Let me see.
All right.
Let me see. What about now?
Yeah, that's perfect. All
It's
right.
perfect, but I can't hear nothing you're saying.
You can't hear nothing I'm saying?
You see that? It's like it's since it's going through the thing, you can hear me great.
Oh,
But huh?
come on.
What about now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
When I put the little mic in, you can't hear me. But it's
Okay. All right. So let's roll with this.
So just okay. Well, when you ask me a question, I'm gonna put this in so you can
Just
hear
hold
me.
it. Just hold it.
No, but when I plug it in, I can't hear you.
Everybody can say they can hear you.
No, when you talking, like when I plug the mic in, I can't hear anything.
I'm saying don't put the mic in.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So,
Press the
all right.
AirPod.
All right, are we ready?
Some AirPod. That's a good idea. Yeah, what my AirPods at?
Yeah.
That's
Man, we're gonna get this live going tonight, man.
we gonna get it going.
Disconnect the live.
Disconnect the mic. It should be in my room.
All right, come
good.
on.
We good.
All right.
Let's go.
All right. We good?
I'm good. I'm gonna get the headphones and we're gonna.
All right. All right. So Rob, go ahead and introduce yourself, man. While they doing that and making all the technical difficulties and stuff like that. So go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Okay. Well, my name is I don't know where the AirPods are now. I'm gonna plug it in when we talk. You let me leave it here. So you hear me okay?
Yep.
Anybody? Okay, so when you ask questions, I'll just do it like that. So
Okay.
Rob Coates, from Columbus, Ohio. I live in Houston, Texas now. Been out here for like 8 years. Serial entrepreneur. Um, you know, father, author, speaker, all that good stuff. Um, all that good stuff. Is that good?
Got you. Yeah. Okay. So again, tonight what we want to really get deep and we want to start talking about the healing process. We want to talk about manhood and we want to talk about fatherhood. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do this series, after I did the Breakfast Club interview, I had so many brothers reach out to me about wanting to connect through either doing one-on-one sessions, and I had a lot of brothers connecting to me to where they wanted to share their story. So I thought if I do this series, that this will provide space and also provide opportunities for men to be able to hear other men speak about certain things that they're dealing with. And one of the things is that most times as men, we process so differently that we don't really have the space to even work through the things that we're feeling. And so for this space, I want us to have this space to where there's transparency. There's also an opportunity for those that are watching, for a lot of the men that are watching, for a lot of the women that are watching, for everyone to have an understanding that when you're going through a process of healing, it's not a beautiful process, number one. So it's not an ugly process, whether it's a breakup, whether it's a death, whether it's losing a job, whether you lost family members during this time of COVID. It's not an ugly process. And so what I want to do is also allow individuals to have an understanding that in order, especially for you brothers that are watching, for the men, in order to have a quality of life, it's going to challenge you to have to deal with some things that we often run away from. Because what we do as men, we'll find other areas to pay attention to than to deal with the things that are really causing us the challenges to evolve as men. So I want to start with that, Rob. Is let's hop right into it.
Okay.
What has your healing journey been like?
You hear me? I got the AirPods in. This
Yeah.
is good. Okay, perfect. The process has been, they say, good thing I don't look like what I've been through, because it's been a long one. It's been a journey. And the thing with social media, you don't really. I try to highlight mine as often as I can, but a lot of times social media just has you look at the successes and things like that. But as far as mine, it's been a lot. It's been a ton. Where you where you want to start?
So I want to go there because you went through something 3 years ago where you lost everything,
Hmm.
and in the same space that you lost everything, you also lost your father.
Hmm.
So what was that space like to be going broke, losing your house, losing your cars, losing your business, but losing your dad at the same time? How did you get through that, man?
And divorce, and going through a
And,
divorce.
and you was going through a divorce at the same time.
Well, it was man, it was rough. I've been a avid believer on like personal development and working on your mind, and all that stuff like that. But it's probably one of the hardest times I went through, because I went over the course and got my dream house, and Hurricane Harvey came, and I got 4 feet of water. So I lost my house that I just got a year ago, a year before that, and I lost 9 cars in the flood. It was $2 million in damage. Lost all my clothes, pictures, everything, and I was the only one, only friend I knew who lost everything. So by going through that, I was also going through a thing of separation at the time with with my spouse, with my ex at that time, and that was probably the toughest part, because when you lose everything, and then somebody that you have knows everything about you. Like, we was together almost 10 years, so I mean that was rough. And then at the same time, as a man, financially, when you can't provide, it's a different, it's like a paralyzing feeling.
So
So
pause right there.
mhm,
Pause right there. And I want to come back to that. Explain to the brothers that are watching, right, and even the women
mhm,
that are watching, how
mhm.
hard is it for a man to move forward in life when he can no longer provide financially?
Uh, like, it's like when you don't, it takes, like, your thoughts go really dark, and then you forget all the successes that you've had. Like, it makes you forget, like, everything you've done positively, because all you're doing at the moment when you're stressed is you're thinking about the moment. You're thinking about, like, man, what am I, how is, somebody that I seen my life being together for forever. What I'm going to do about that? Then really, it was really my son. That was my biggest thing, because I didn't want another man to be raised in, like I said, to be around my son. So even when I was going through all those things, I was like, my main priority was my son. So with my father I was blessed to have both parents growing up, and he's always been there. He was my best friend, and he died June 3rd, was the 2-year anniversary of his death, but he actually passed on. We buried him on Father's Day, and
Wow.
it was tough when you're going through that, but then, like, I was broke at that time. I didn't even have money to pay for the funeral. So you really didn't have a lot of time to really process everything, because I'm, like, trying to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, my dad died just out the blue, like, perfectly healthy, 60 years old, like, and he just fell asleep. I can hear y'all. Hey, I can hear you over there. Like, so, like, to be going through all that, then, like, it's like, how does this happen? Like, I don't have, now I don't have both parents, and that was probably this. That was
So so
that was
I
rough.
want and I want you to take us through this, right?
Okay.
I remember the day that you lost your dad. And I remember you calling me with the initial shock, like, bro, my dad just died. And it was one of those things where you couldn't even process it, because it's one of those things, and I want to help people understand this.
Yeah.
Death is such a unexplainable thing to process, right? Because one of the reasons we all fear death is because of the unknown, right? We don't know what happens. And even if you're a believer and you think that, well, church people tell you in a minute to be absent from the body
Here
means to
y'all
be
close the
present with
door.
the Lord. But it's so difficult
Close.
to understand when we lose the familiarity of a person, and we lose the familiarity of the place that they held in our life, the space that they provided, the joy, the laughter that they provided, even some of those down moments. And so one of those things, it's hard for us to really comprehend, how does this add up and make sense? And I remember when Rob was going through this process, and one of the things is that, bro, I don't know what I'm going to do in this moment, because my my dad just died.
Mm-hmm.
And in this
Yeah.
moment, it was one loss after another. You're going through a divorce, you losing your home, and I
Yeah.
remember you not having a car, and people were picking you up. And one of the things that you were saying is like, man, how am I even going to get to my dad's funeral?
Yeah.
I mean, because
Okay.
as we're talking about it, as we're looking at
Yeah.
this 3 to 4 years ago, what was your emotions, man? What was your first thought?
I think I had a love coach, Dr. Elsie Bass at that time, and I called her after I called my close friends, and she said, "You want to write a list down of all the things that your dad gave you, and as far as, like, a positive light, like what he did, how he was there, then the things that with your son you're gonna do better." But she said, feel like, be present in the moment, and let yourself, like, be sad. It's okay to be, if you're depressed, feel that emotion, like, but let yourself. be in that moment. So when days you don't feel like doing anything, do that. So having that advice and then looking at it like it was it was painful, and I did a lot of crying. Actually, like David and Manitia, one of my good friends, when he heard the news, he came over and we just sat for 4 hours on my floor and just cried. And I think that's been a blessing with me is I've always had friends that I could call and I could cry and they were always empathetic. And I know a lot of times guys don't really have, they feel like it's not manly to be able to, to process that. But when I called you, called everybody, it was like, it made it better. But that feeling like it's a paralyzing, no matter how much personal development you've gotten, it's like your world is over because it's like I don't have both parents now. Like I
Right.
felt betrayed. I felt like I was really mad at God because I was like,
Now stop. Don't brush over that,
okay,
because there are some men that are watching right now that are mad at God, and they're not mad at God because of what they got. They're mad at God because of what they didn't get.
mm-hmm.
And I want you guys to catch this because I'm ready to shift. I know y'all got a lot going over there. Tell them to be still over there because we got to have this space.
Yeah.
A lot of brothers are mad not because of what they got. They're mad because of what they didn't get. And the purpose of this is that if you focus so much on what you didn't get, you miss the opportunity of what you have inside of you. Because the anger is real. However, is there any validity to the story that you tell yourself about the man that you can't be because daddy wasn't there? Or the man that you can't be because daddy is gone? Or the man that you can't be now that the abuse, now that the molestation, now that the job, all of those things? Because one thing that I know as men, and you and I have talked about this, and that I've often said to you, I don't care how much money you have. I love you, Rob, for who you are and not for what you have. And I want to say this to the brothers, that no matter where you are, look for people who love you just because you are.
Yeah.
And yeah. I had to plug that in because I want you to talk about that. You're very successful. You have a lot of money. Talk about people who latch on to you because of what you have.
Well, you said you want to go deep. Well, it all starts with me. It started from childhood. You just wanting affirmation, wanting my parents, wishing my parents would have just had a little bit more like physical touch, hugs, things like that. I grew up, even though my parents were in the same household, they weren't really affectionate or affirming. My mom always said, you can do all things through Christ. So I had that concept, but growing up one of 5 siblings, I felt like the black sheep. So I thought really early on is if I'm successful and I'm able to retire my parents and give those around me a better lifestyle, that'll make them love me more. So it
So
started. Yeah.
pause, go back because I need somebody to catch that and slow down just a little bit for me.
Okay.
They never affirmed you.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that.
Growing up, like I said, I felt like a black sheep. My little brother, I got 3 older sisters and a younger brother. And I always felt when we weren't going to church, which was 95 times a week, it was just, I was alone. And even though I had a lot of people, my friends growing up in the neighborhood I grew up in, that was really my only outlet. So for me, I would see them with, my siblings and things like that. And I always felt like alone. I knew they were there, if I needed something, but I felt alone. So for me, it started like, all right, if I can, I'll get this validation if they're proud of me. So I felt like, and even struggled, even as I got older, like, all right, when I have all these things, I can have people around and it's a good time. But when you lose or you go through adversity is when you really see, like, man, like, ain't nobody there. So that was like, even when I got married, I told you a story like, initially I found out my mother had bone cancer and she had 2 weeks left to live. So I asked my mother, what was the number one thing like I could do? What's her dream for me? What's her last wish for me? And she said, I want you to get married. And, at the time, like I said, we were girlfriend and boyfriend like that, but I wasn't ready, but I had I had a choice. I could do this and make my mother proud, and learn to live with it, or I could not do it and feel bad and beat myself up. So I went and got married in like four days. And the crazy thing about it is, my mother was so sick that she never even got a chance to even come to the funeral, and she died. That was December 22nd. I seen her the day before Christmas, then she died right after Christmas. So,
Wow. So she never, so the thing that
no.
she wanted to see the most, and you actually did it to appease her, she didn't even live to see it. And
No.
so I want to back up, and I want to give some context to this part. And because here's the thing, guys, and I want to echo some more about what Rob is saying. Here Rob is. Rob has 9 cars. He has how much was that house, Rob?
20,000 square foot, huh?
He had a 20,000 square foot house. The house had 15 bedrooms?
Like 12. It was a lot.
Like 12 bedrooms. And I want you guys to follow this. You have 9 cars, 20,000 square foot home. You can retire your parents and they say nothing to you. And I want people to understand that, because there are some women that are attached to some men who these men are heavily invested into becoming successful. And it's not that they're chasing success, they're chasing the validation of feeling appreciated for their accomplishment. And I want to establish this. There's nothing wrong with validation. We all need to be validated. But when men are not validated emotionally, when they're not validated mentally, when they're not validated through words, through accomplishment, Rob accomplished all of this stuff, and I'm going to say it for him, and his parents never said nothing. They never said nothing. They never said, I was proud. They never said, hey, you did it. They never gave him an attaboy.
Yeah.
And one of the things is, me and Rob have a real friendship. And I even told him, there's times he's come out with me and I say, hey, don't wear no necklace with me. I tell him, take off the jewelry, because I like Rob. I don't like Mr. Coates. I don't like Mr. Coates. Mr. Coates is Mr. Coates, and he knows we like, our birthdays are 2 weeks apart. But the reason I tell him to come as him, because I want him to see more of him, not because of what he's accomplished, but just because he is. Because guess what? When he was driving a car that he will park 2 to 3 blocks away, because he didn't want anybody to see him driving it, because he had established himself to be here. I told him, no, I want to see you not for what you're driving, because of who you are. And so when he was going through this time, and I want to speak to the men, that when you're going through these moments of brokenness, when you're going through these moments of disappointment, it's important that you be around brothers or be around men. And hopefully you have a woman or a female friend or companion or spouse or partner that provides space for you to feel that it's okay, and that you are enough without the stuff. So I want you to talk about that, man, from our friendship. What did it do for you as you continue to heal? Because you even said to me, bro, that's a big part of why I do extra stuff, because I wasn't validated.
It's well, adversity for me, I mean, when you lose everything, you really get to see one, the people that's really there for you, and then secondly, it reveals your enemies and the people that are happy. Because I've always been a type. I do it when I have these runs. I do it all, and when I fall, like, I fall hard, and it'll be a handful of people that are, like I said, that are, like, love me with nothing, and it's more people that's like, I knew it. He was too flashy. He was this. He was that. And for you, we both met at a time of adversity. You know what I'm saying? You was going through your situation, and I was going through my situation. And the hardest part, I think that the hardest part, even after death, was, like, you come back home, and you're alone. Like in Houston, I have a lot of friends that I will say I've met that didn't know me from like being Rob Coates, but there's not a lot of people that know me as Terrell, which is my middle name, and just a cool, laughing, down to earth guy. And you're one of the few. It's been others, but few that always seen my heart and not my head and not the things I could do. So when you go through times, and I think I had to borrow. I came and seen you, and I didn't even have gas to see you, and you put some money in my hand, like things like that are everything, because you see like, wow, like it's people that are really there that just really rock with you for you. And it's great because like with times adversity, they show you like who's really there. So when you get the yachts and planes and things like that, the people that was there with you, you had nothing, are the people that you bring along. Because like you said, it's too easy to like when you're up, it's too easy to spot the people that aren't really there for you. So I came back home after the funeral, and that was hard because I was alone. It was just my thoughts. And I would say just advice out there to men going through, not just a death, but a relationship. Your thoughts, you got to protect your thoughts and your mind. Like you got to constantly affirm and hear positive things all the time. You got to hear, whether you get on YouTube or listen to something, but you got to always keep your mind sharp. You got to keep your mind positive. Like I would get a notebook and I would just write, I'm so happy and grateful now that at least I'm a father. I'm so happy and grateful that I've been able to do this. But I would write those things every day and put those things on my wall. Like if you went through my house, those are all things on my wall, because you got to remember that just because right now you don't have anything doesn't mean that you're anything. Your possessions truly don't make you, and they won't make you happy. They really, you think, that when you get these things that they'll make you happy, but it's after you get it and taint it, it's like, all right, it's next. So what you're really looking for is just, you got to heal that little boy in you. And for me, that was everything, really getting to it and say, you know what? I'm proud of myself. I'm worthy. I love myself, because at that time, when you get in a relationship and it goes south, it's hard, because you kind of attach your worth sometimes to that person. And you can forget, about yourself. You can forget what I like to do for fun. What do I like to do? So for me, coming home and telling myself I love me. I'm proud of myself, working on my weight, working on my mind, and just finding something that I could be happy with, which was my son. That was the thing that saved me.
Yeah. And one of the things is if y'all hear my music in the background, don't pay it no mind, because I need this music to set the atmosphere, because I want some men to get a breakthrough, because that's how I work. I truly believe I got some instrumental music playing strategically, because I want some men to get some breakthrough. And I want to speak to the man who feels that he's not enough.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something, King. Let me tell you something, brother. You would never be enough for the person that cannot hold space for you when you don't have. For your mere existence, you deserve to be protected. You deserve to be loved. You deserve to be cared for. And I want to, because see, so many times as men, we're so busy trying to be the protector, and we don't realize that we need to be protected. Your feelings need to be protected. Your thoughts need to be guarded. Always evaluate the space. Always evaluate the environment, because that environment is really going to shape how you process.
Yeah.
Because there's so many men that are dying to, quote unquote, get to this place that they think that is successful. And really, success, man, is really, are you at peace with yourself?
That's success right there.
That's success right there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how much money you get. I don't care how much people know you. That you got all of these followers. What matters is that, can you be at peace with where you are? And let me tell you something. Just because you're at peace with where you are doesn't mean that you're content. That you're complacent. Because we often think that contentment is complacement. It does not. It does not equate the same. Because see, I can be content and still aspire to do more. Complacent is that at this time, I lack the motivation to move forward. But I can be content and still move forward. And what I want to encourage a lot of these brothers that are watching, because see, I know a lot of brothers look at Rob, they go to his page, they look at the jewelry. And again, I love my brother. He'll tell you, Rob and I are totally opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Rob gonna have a lot of money and he gonna show you. I'm gonna have a lot of money and you ain't gonna know it. But I love my brother because he's true to who he is.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to tell the guys that often go to these pages, you are looking up to a guy, you think, man, he's made it. Here's the thing. And as I said on the Breakfast Club, I'm not concerned about how successful you look on the outside. I'm concerned about your success on the inside. Are you privately successful? Can you walk into a room of people who are looking at you and you can be at peace and you don't have anxiety about how they think or how they feel about you? Because the one thing that Rob would tell you is that when you lose status,
Mm-hmm.
you lose, quote unquote, individuals that all of a sudden you can't find them. These same people, oh, bro, we with you, we with you. Adversity not only tells you who people are, but it also reveals their true intentions.
Right.
I want to say this again. Adversity not only tells you who people are, but it reveals people's true intentions. When there's adversity in your life, you're going to be able to tell what people really mean to you and what role that you play in their life. It's going to reveal everything.
Yeah.
So, Rob, you going through all of this stuff, man.
Yeah.
How did this affect you as a man and as a father?
Well, for me, I chose to, when I lost my father, right? I said, okay, what are the things that I can give my son now? Everything that I lacked, I make sure that I give it to my son times 10, right? And that for me, it's when you go through, the hard part is when I was going through these things, like I didn't even have, groceries to even feed my son. And that was probably one of the hardest parts when his mother was dropping them off to me, and I was like, "Hey, you mind bringing some groceries over for you? Because I don't have anything right now." So at first, as you go through things, like you beat yourself up because you're thinking how people want to respond to you, and the beauty is you actually find people that will be there for you and look out. You'd be surprised how many people like would be grateful to help you in that. So for me, it was a blessing, man, because the more when I found out, okay, I shared it with this person and they were cool to share it with this person, it made me a lot more vulnerable, okay with being vulnerable and transparent. And for me, like I said, my son, I wrote a question that on this card one day. It said, what experience do you are you going to make sure that your son never has to go through? And for me, more than just material things, my son's never going to have to worry about him feeling loved, right? He's never going to have to worry about him doing something, and I would stop loving him over doing something. Like that to me is more important. Yeah, we have clothes and drip and all that stuff like that, but if you look at the relationship I have with my son, we're very emotional, we're very affectionate. I'm at everything. I don't miss anything. So I put all that love and attention and all that, wishing I could have got it from other people into myself and my son. And that has been the freedom for me. Because as long as at the end of the day, I'm not worried about what I do business wise. I'm worried about, all right, what am I leaving? What legacy am I leaving? An example for my son. And as long as
Man,
he's proud, I'm proud of myself.
I want to ask you something, and this is deep. Do you feel like being there for your son was also you rescuing the little boy that you were holding inside?
Absolutely. 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 I went when I was in therapy. I remember one of the toughest things I learned was that you got to heal the little boy inside of you. And knowing what I know now, I'm being 38 years old. If I could have went back and told myself, the things that I know now at a young age, like let's say 8 or 10, right? When I was all alone in the house that had all these people, but still feeling alone. I remember them asking me what would I tell myself, and I would tell myself And I would tell myself that, you know, I'm worthy, you know, like
Yeah,
I'm gonna make you
man,
proud. You know what I'm saying?
man.
Like you're
Right
gonna,
there, that worthy. Stay on
yeah,
that worthiness, man. What does
yeah,
that worthiness means to you?
man. Like you accept less because when you don't know your worthiness or your worth, that's when you accept, you know, how somebody treats you. You accept,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
having
Come
to,
on.
you know, go to women, you know, and have gifts or already going, or I gotta have this bag before I even approach this girl, or I gotta be able to do all this stuff. Like so when you know your worth and you love you, you come as you are. You know what I'm saying? And I wear
Yeah,
dripping
yeah.
jewelry.
There it is.
You know, I
There it
wear the
is.
drip because I love it. You know, it's Rob Coates. I'm not doing it to impress anybody. You know what I'm saying? And I do it because I enjoy being, you know, I like it. I like how certain things feel. And for me, I learned my worth after I lost everything. And one of my darkest places is when I truly, you know, I had nobody else but God and myself.
That
That's when
there
I
it is.
that's when I got it.
Because oftentimes worthiness is not accepted what you've acquired. Worthiness is what
Yeah.
you discovered. I want y'all to catch that. Worthiness is not found in what you acquire. Worthiness is discovered in what you learn, in what you come to know about you. And for the men that are watching, and even for the ladies that are watching, man, that worthiness is so important because once you understand that you are worthy of receiving love, and that worthiness is not that you say, well, I deserve to be loved. Listen, I never said deserve. Worthy.
Yeah.
Worthy means that,
Yeah.
yes, I may not meet the standard, I may not meet the qualifications.
Yeah.
However, I am qualified.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to turn this into church, but that's the beautiful thing about God
Yeah.
is that you don't have to meet a preference. You don't have to meet a standard. He's not waiting for you to get a
Yeah.
degree. He's not
Yeah.
waiting for you to get 50,000 followers, 100,000 followers. He's waiting for you to discover what he's already said about you that, hey, if you do nothing else, that you're enough. And that's what I want men to take
Yeah.
away from this, that, my brother, if you do nothing else, that you are
Yes.
enough. And yes, we all should continue to strive. We all should continue to strive.
Yeah.
I never forget my mentor. My mentor said this to me. Said like and if you follow me, you know pretty much. I want to be married. I want to build a family. I want kids. My mentor, my spiritual mentor, said to me, "What if God didn't grant that to you, Jay? Would your
Mm.
life not mean any? Would your life mean anything less?"
Mm.
And I'm gonna be honest. I ain't gonna lie, Rock, because you know you and I had this conversation because I've even told you at times where not envy or not jealous, but there's times that I'm often like, man, dude, I can't wait to have my little boy and be like
Mm-hmm.
you in third. You know what I'm saying? Kind of hang out with
Mm-hmm.
my man. And I've
Mm-hmm.
wrestled with that because I'm like, God, I want kids. But he said to me, he says, Jay, if you did not get married and God did not give you kids, it did not mean that your life meant any less. You know why I'm saying this? Because there's a woman that is watching tonight that maybe you can't bear children, and it does not mean that you're less than and that you are not worthy of.
Mm.
There's a man that may feel that he can't have children. And the reason I'm using this children thing is because oftentimes we would use things as children to give us validity, to give us significance,
Mm-hmm.
to give to solidify our existence. And once I became okay with that, I understood that even if I didn't have kids or God didn't bless me with certain things, if God didn't raise me to a certain level, it still didn't mean that I was not worthy of. And that's that word, worthy of. And that worthy of is whatever comes after that. I am worthy of progression. I
Mm-hmm.
am worthy of healthy relationships. I am worthy of taking my healing. I am worthy of the promotion. I am worthy of, you know what I'm saying, buying the car, having a new
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
That worthiness is attached to whatever, because we often feel like, man, dude, if I don't get this, I am not worthy. And I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
tell you something. I had a conversation with God, and he said, is this more about what I can do for you or what you can do for me? And once I became centered in myself, I realized, because some people are serving God or doing or serving someone because of something that they need to be met inside.
Mm-hmm.
And what I had to realize, Rob, that it wasn't about what God could do for me or what he could give me. It was more about how I can grow in that space. And once I was able to grow outside of what my wants were, guess what? He started meeting my needs. Because the want was, I want the family, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got, but my guy just signed on, Jonathan Evans. I remember looking at Jonathan's life. I'm like, man, you got the life. And looking at all of my homeboys have kids. And here I am, I'm going after this purpose. I'm chasing these kids and I'm doing all of this type of stuff. But then again, God was said, why did you want those things? And I wanted it for the wrong reason, because I wanted it to say that, hey, I wanted to be able to tell my father that I could be a better man than he was to my children, than he was to us. But once I healed from that, I now had a right perspective that me having a family and being what I need to be to my kids is, once I detached or why I wanted it, because it was because I wanted to show my dad up, I was now able to reframe my thinking that I wanted this because I wanted to build and create my own legacy. So when we shift perspectives, how we think about things will be altered in those things. So I want to go deeper.
Uh-oh.
I want
Problem.
to go deeper because there's so many men, Rob, have experienced hurt in the church from men that they've looked up to. And take your time, and we talked about this. Talk about when men experience hurt from men that they either idolize, look up to, or men that they have deep respect for.
Okay. Well, for me, my relationship with the church is different. You know, my parents were ministers and things like that, but I've always had questions. Um, I've always had a lot of questions that I felt never were able to get answered, and so I've always had a different. I've studied a whole plethora of different things, and I would say now I'm spiritual. I wouldn't say I have a title or things like that, but I'm a spiritual being. But to answer your question, like with church, like for me, I grew up Pentecostal, and that's where, aka no fun, no life, but church, right? I was at church 8 days a week. Um, every play, my dad was a head deacon, so we had always be the first ones there, the last ones to go. Um, just everything, man. And it was, so seeing that, I was like, why we broke? I was like, we tired, we do all this stuff. Why are we broke? Right. And I just got sick of being broke. But so when my mother passed, that was the first thing, because I was like, all right, this is like, she should be like your right hand woman. How she get like breast cancer, and then she get bone cancer. Then I'm like, where's the healing? Where the miracles at? Like, where'd that go? So when I was hurt by that, um, and initially, like you talking about as far as going deeper, I had experience that I was taking I haven't shared this story with anybody but Jay and a few close others. So I've shared it with, this has been something I've never really shared. But it was a time, and I won't go too deep into it, but with a bishop, and I was just getting some pictures. I was getting some pictures, I think like senior pictures or something like that. And he said he could take them. So I'm like, cool. So I get to the church, and it was just me and him, and he's taking pictures with a suit and things like that, and that's all I really wanted was like, all right, pictures in a suit. And so after that, he's like, well, you should go into modeling. This is when I was young, I was cut up and stuff like that. Well, let's get some other pictures with you, like with you in like some streetwear, like some jeans and t-shirt. So I'm taking those pictures, and I do that. And after that, he's like, well, take your shirt, why don't you do something with your shirt off? So I'm like, when you idolize somebody, like, you're not really thinking like, okay, it's weird, but it's like, well, it's trust. All right, this is God's. All right, man. So, you know, I'm taking pictures with my shirt off, and he's like, oh, well, kind of unbutton your pants, give me like the Playboy look, and just just like unbutton them a little bit where it's just open, where it shows like the V. When you cut up, you got the little V, and
Right, right.
so I did that, but I guess my pants it wasn't low enough. So I just remember that. Dang, I'm sharing this. I remember he came and he just was like, and he pulled my pants all the way down where I was exposed. And it was, I was confused. He never tried to touch me or anything like that. He was just like, you need to be comfortable. It's just like being in the locker room, blah, blah, blah. And I remember, like I said, I was uncomfortable. So I pulled my pants up and I left. And I just remember that day, I drove home so fast. I was so angry. And I was in that household where you don't really cuss. You can't curse in front of your parents. But I remember going home and, telling my parents, like screaming, mad, angry, that this had happened. And I remember them looking at them. It was at the top of the stairs. I remember looking at them, and they looked at me, and you could tell in their eyes they were hurt, but they went to church every day. The next, like, it never happened.
Like nothing ever happened.
Like nothing ever happened. And they went there. Both of my parents went there till they died. So I was like, after I stopped going to church after that. I was like, and I really, I looked at people, of that influence, like, them niggas is just like me. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my French. Like, and I really had, it was really, I just didn't really feel that. And, it was even uncomfortable, even like with older men, like even like hugging, even like, dapping and stuff like that. It was always felt
So
uncomfortable.
it became a defense mechanism.
Yeah, like, like, nah, you know what I'm saying? I don't, no compliments, don't. So it was really like I was guarded, and even deeper than that, like, when I was raised, with the church, we were kind of raised, to be homophobic and things like that, like where that's like totally unacceptable. And, it took me like time to really be like, because I did have something against, people like that. And it was for no reason, because nobody had ever, like I said, did
It
anything
was
to
from your
me.
experience.
Yeah. So I had to really like just look and say, they're actually, like I said, people that choose that life, they're actually cool. Like there's nothing wrong with them. And I have assistants now, like I said, that are gay and, and interior design. Like, so it opened my eyes, but it was like, I carried that pain and that hurt, it was religious wounds for a long time. And if you look, I got a video where I'm crying at my father's funeral, and I really was crying because it was like, that's what my dad wanted his funeral to be. And there was a place I said I never wanted to go back to. So
Never
I
wanted to be.
couldn't form words to talk because I was like, I was
That's where
sad,
you
but I was
experienced
angry.
that trauma,
hmm
that pain.
So, hmm so yeah, it took time, but the best thing I did is forgive and heal. Like that was, and I say that's the best solution to anybody that's watching. Like you got to get to a point where, you accept it, you make peace with it, and you let it go. Because if you don't let it go, that's what that hurt and that pain can turn into a cancer, and it does nothing for you because that one experience isn't responsible for every new experience that you have. Like it's not. So I had to
Man,
get to a
that's
place
good.
of
That's good,
forgiveness,
Rob.
man, and healing. And I had to write it down. I forgive my
There,
mother. I
there,
forgive my parents.
there
Like,
it is right there. And I'm not to cut you off, but if you can repeat
yeah,
that part again for those that are watching, that you had to write it down.
yeah, like writing it down, like, when you take it from your mind or the spiritual and to the physical, it's like you're 30% more likely to get the results. I don't know the stats and things now, but like if you look at like Bart Simpson, whenever he would do something, he would be like, I will not do this. And it's like kind of like training your mind to be a pattern. And for me, just writing it down. And the thing I learned is that they said perpetrators or the people that hurt you are rarely the ones that will come back and give you that apology and things like
Yep.
that.
Say that.
So
Yep. Say that again, Rob.
yeah, perpetrators, the people that hurt you, usually are never going to be the ones that come back and give you that apology, whether it's a relationship, whether it's parents, whether it's anything. They're never the ones to give it to you. So you have to give it to yourself. And one of the things I did was I would, like, when people that hurt me, owed me money, dollars, stole from me, did things like that, I would write a letter to myself in like third person, like I was them. And I would write it like, and that's me, them apologizing to me. And then I would get to a place where I would burn it, I would bury it, then I let it go. I don't think about it. I don't talk about it, but I let it go. But anybody that does that, I get to a place where, because it'll if you focus on how bad something is, you're going to attract and create more of how bad it is. I don't care if you're a good person, bad person, whatever, you're going to get more of whatever you focus on, because whatever you focus on expands. Your mind is powerful. Your mind has the ability to create. So the more you talk about things and you gossip about it and you tell people what you're going through, like you create more of that, especially when you add a lot of passion and a lot of emotion with it. So what you do is you get to a place where you accept it. It sucks. That hurt. I don't know why they did this. I don't know what happened in their childhood, their trauma, but you get to a place where you got to let it go and you make peace with it and stop talking about it. Stop, being the mayor of misery. Yeah, happiness sucks. Everybody goes through stuff. Everybody, that's everybody.
Yeah.
So don't feel like you're just the victim, because so many people, go through things and they hurt silently, right? So what you have to do, and what I did was I would get to a place where I forgive quick. And, when people do things, I just say, that sucks. It's experience for me to, learn more, but I take personal accountability, because those are
Man,
situations I put myself in. And
yeah.
you got to grow from it. Like, the way to not be a victim is by you taking accountability for the situations that happen to your life, the bad partners, the bad people. What was I going through? What was I feeling that I attracted that time to me? And that's what I do now. I take accountability for all
Man, brother.
actions, and that's what's helped me to be free now.
Man, brother, first of all, man, from one brother to another, from one king to another, is that I love you, man, for sharing that. And I know that you and I have talked about this in confidence and behind. And the reason, and let me just say this, I respect all of the guys in my life so much that I called them and asked them, how deep could we go tonight?
Yeah.
I have a rapport with him, but there's still a level of respect that I have. And this brother would do anything. I can call Rob right now and say, I need 10,000. He ain't going to ask me what I need it for. He'll just be like, all right, where you want me to send it? And saying that, man, that I appreciate your vulnerability to 500 and something people that are watching.
Yeah.
Because you just allow somebody free from something that they've been carrying.
Yeah.
And I want to say this, even as a therapist, I take clients through this journey. And I tell all of my clients, I'm just the GPS. You're the driver. You tell me where you want to end, and I help you get there through collaborating with you. But one of the things that I often share with clients is that two choices, that you have a choice to either to choose the story or you can choose you. Because see, to choose the story is what you just said. I keep telling it over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
And now the story dictates my movement. The story dictates my relationships. The story justifies my actions. I'm this way because this happened to me. I'm this way because I didn't grow up with a dad. I'm this way because somebody touched me. But to choose you and embracing that is not that you take it on. And I just want to share that to people, because Rob says something. Accepting it doesn't mean or make any less of what happened. Accepting is that I can't change it, but I am choosing to move forward. That's all accepting is. It's even when we have to accept that a loved one has transitioned. I don't like that they're gone, but I am accepting that I have to begin to live a new life without them. And your vulnerability and your strength. And I hope that the men that are watching, because there are some men that have been touched, have been violated, whether it was another man, whether it was another woman, or whether it was a family member. I just want to tell those brothers that are watching, because this is a Just Heal Bro series, is that one experience, that one encounter, that one event does not have to determine what the rest of your life look like.
No.
And I'm going to tell you something. When men experience molestation, sexual trauma, sexual abuse, it opens up something in us that we begin to pursue.
Yeah.
Sexual fantasies, sexual desire, porn addiction, all those different things. And it's the same in women. And what we're all looking for is we're looking for moments to feel safe. And often what happened is I only feel safe in the same place that I was violated.
Yeah.
That's the conundrum that you find yourself in. Is that having sex is where I feel safe at, but at the same time, it was the same place where I experienced my greatest hurt. The same place that I experienced something that I can't get rid of. And so many of us have PTSD from these experiences, right?
Yeah.
And so what happened is we get in a relationship and we haven't really dealt with the post-traumatic stress from what has happened. And so you can't really receive love because you haven't really dealt with being touched. You haven't really dealt with the abandonment. You haven't dealt with the rejection. And one of the things that I said often, and I even shared this in my book, Hello King. And for the guys that are watching, please go get that book off of Amazon. Powerful read. The first chapter, I talk about being physically abused by my stepdad. My stepdad used to come in my room at night, Rob, and beat the crap out of me. When my mom would sleep, he would come in there and tell me, I'm going to make a man out of you. My stepdad had served time in prison. So his way of building a man, and quote unquote, probably where we got the term toxic masculinity, because this Negro was toxic as hell, he would come in there and hit me in my side and say, I'm going to make a man out of you. And some nights he would put the pillow over my head and say, you better not scream. He would annihilate me so much, even to the point to where he put me to sleep. He put me in a chokehold. He put me in a chokehold one night in front of my sisters and told them, I run this house. He puts me in a chokehold. I wake up on the floor because he had choked me until I passed out. And I held so much anger. And here's another thing. He was a preacher.
Oh, wow.
He was a preacher. And here's what I want to say to those that are watching, is that what I had to learn, that this had nothing to do with God. It had nothing to do with God allowed. It had everything to do with issues that this man had going on in his life. And the reason I'm saying that, because sometimes when we're hurt in church, we often go after God, and it's not God.
Yeah.
It's people that have not dealt with their issues and that have allowed their issues, right, to become a part of their behavior for their own stuff. And I share that a lot with guys because I carried a lot of anger. And I also tell the story how I went to kill him one night. And if you get the book, I tell this story that I stood over him, getting ready to stab him in his chest. And I've shared this story on several. I'm standing over him, he's asleep on the couch. And I'm getting ready to come down his chest and cave his chest in, getting ready to stab him.
Wow.
And something, just like I'm doing this right here, something grabbed me just like this. Something grabbed me just like that, Rob. And I turned around. I knew it was a supernatural spirit being, or whatever people want to call it. Yeah. I knew what it was, but some people may not be, in that realm. Yeah. And I went back to my room and I went to sleep. Check this out. He wakes up the next day, Rob, and he says to me, I had a dream that you wanted to kill me last night.
Wow.
And I kid you not. And I looked at him and I said, you dream right. I said, I had it out for you, man. And not realizing constant rejection.
Yeah.
I was muscular. I've always been muscular like my dad. We've always been, you know what I'm saying, muscles. He
Yeah.
hated that. He always talked down on me. And here's what God led me to believe after I went through my healing process, right? Is how is it that God used what was rejected to turn around and start healing people? So what am I saying to those that are watching tonight? You can't avoid pain. However, pain becomes valuable when you allow it to teach you. Because you can't avoid it, Rob.
No.
You can't avoid it. I don't care if you're rich, poor, black or white, you can't avoid pain. But pain is not valuable if you don't take anything from it. So what we did, Rob, is we took the pain and we learned the lesson because nothing was wasted. And I want young men, people to see, because I know there's a lot of women watching. If you got a brother, please share this. I'm going to save this to help them to understand this. Is that pain not only drives you if you allow it, but pain also can provide clarity in what you didn't know until you experienced it. Think about it, Rob. You didn't learn who you were until you went through the pain you went through.
That's true. That's true. It makes, it actually makes you, you go through a test, and the reason why you go through tests is to have a testimony so you can testify, so you got to go through, the pain. But I think the emphasis you got to make is you got to go through it. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's it.
You can't let it, and it's easier said than done, but you can't let it like paralyze you. You can't let it make you feel like, life isn't worth living. You got to know that, everything always works out better than you have planned. That's an affirmation. I have a set of affirmations that I tell myself all the time that's getting me through. But everything always works out better than you have planned because God, universe, spirit, whatever you believe, has a better plan. And you went through it to make you stronger, to make you better. But it's not over. You know what I'm saying? Life is not over. Whether you messed up or it happened to you, this is just a process that you had to go through because right now, like I said, it was just your time to go through it. But you go through this pain not for yourself, you go through it for somebody else. So everything I've endured and any success I've had, I know that it's not about me being blessed. It's about me being able to be a blessing to others and being able to share others like the process and what I did in order to achieve it. It's never about me. And when you realize life is not about you, it ain't about you. You got to take the focus off of you. You're here for a reason in a season. But it's not you. It's for everybody else that you're meant to touch and to heal.
No. Man, brother, again, man, thank you, Rob. I'm not going to hold everybody all night because I know we can go on and on. I want to make sure I'm respectful of everybody's time.
Yeah.
And Rob, ADD may be kicking in right now. You see him doing
No,
a lot
I'm
of
trying to
movement.
get a better lighting. I'm trying to
man, we
your
see you,
lighting
brother.
looks so
You look good, brother. You look good, man.
Your lighting looks so good. I'm like, there's no way.
This is just a regular lighting.
Your lighting is lit, man.
It's not my ring light, so it's just a regular lighting. Yeah.
It is the ADD. It is the ADD.
Yeah.
My bad. I know that.
I know you.
I tried. That's better. I went through all that.
Yeah.
But I think we should get we can get some questions just a
okay,
couple. Let's
all right. So
share.
okay, so here's what we're gonna do and I want to open this up to men only. And there are any brothers that are watching that would love to come in, send a request, hop on, and ask us some questions. We'll do that. We'll take 2 questions. And then I'll take either 1 or 2 questions from a lady, but I want to get the men first. That any brothers send a request and we'll bring you in, and we'll get to it. So
I tried all that. I was just trying to get my lighting because yours
Yeah.
looks,
Oh man,
I know I'm dark.
Listen, it's getting dark. It's like perfect lighting.
I know. I'm like,
So
your skin looking all
yeah,
smooth and stuff like that.
yeah.
I'm like, let me show mine. Nah, it's been great, and I really hope this, like I said, this live, it touches somebody's heart, man. It heals somebody's heart, and from that, I also want to talk about too, how to get and manifest the things that you desire too. Because that's something I've been blessed. I think is Cricket Wireless.
Yeah,
Is that your phone or mine?
yeah,
Okay. No, but I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that's something also I would like to share before we're done. Like, is action steps. We talked about the process, the pain. All right, what are the action steps to get through to go to the next level and get it all back, no matter whether you've got it, how to get it all back.
All right, I think we got one question here.
Okay.
Let's see. I don't know. I don't know. I don't ever like a woman. No ladies not. No ladies right. No ladies, just men only. I just want the brothers.
It's a
But
safe space.
so I do want to encourage you. Again, we're going to be doing this every week. Next week, I have my good brother, uh, a genius, lyrical legend, Royce the 5'9", that's going to be on. I saw my brother, now that's Major, is on. I'm going to reach out to him to try to get him on. I have another guy that I'm reaching out. I'm going to try to at least do 2 of these per week because I know we won't be able. I know once a week won't be enough because these conversations are going to be so enriched. And so I'm going to answer a few questions. Somebody said, "Can you tell us what healing looked like for you? The good, the bad, and the ugly." So I don't know what Rob got going on, and I'll continue on. And he may hop back on. I'll answer that question. What healing looked like for me, the good and the bad and the ugly, is one of the things when you're in therapy, you'll realize that a lot of the process of therapy is not fun. It's not fun. The process of therapy is very ugly because you have to do a lot of revisiting the thoughts. You have to revisit the experience. You have to revisit the events. You have to revisit things that took place that you kind of pushed in the back of your mind. So that was much of my journey of healing, and so for me, the healing was really, it's continuous because you don't know that something's a trigger until it's been triggered. But what healing does, and what therapy, coaching, what it does, it provides you with the tools on how do you handle when you're triggered? How do you handle it when somebody make you feel like you're abandoned, but it's not that they're abandoning you. They may have just be creating space between you, but you interpret it as abandonment because it was a childhood experience that you had.
Mm.
So the healing and the journey process is much ugly. It's very painful to heal. However, the beauty is you get to discover who you were, or should I say, you get to rediscover who you were before you got hurt. Because when we experience pain, when we experience trauma, what we do is we develop a maladaptive persona to say that this is not going to happen again. So once you get healed, you get to see who you were before the event took place, who you were before you had the bad experience, before you had the divorce, the bad relationship. Think about it. Love is love until you get hurt by it. You think love is the greatest thing, and then you get hurt. You just kind of like, well, shoot, I don't know if I want to be in love because love hurts. And it's not that love hurt. You were in love with someone that hurted you. And so, again, man, thank you, Rob, for coming on, man, and starting the week for my Just Heal Bro series. And I'll let you close out with the last words, and then we'll sign off, brother.
Okay. I guess they want to. It's more women on than guys. I
Yeah.
see. I'll end with this. And I sent a question that said, you know, how often should friends check in with friends? Um, it's a good question, man. I think daily. You know, I think it takes, you know, how much time out of a day to reach out to a friend or brother and really ask what's going on. But a lot of times, you know, people really more address that like in person. So
Right.
sometimes you just got to run up on people and be like, "Yo, how's your heart? How you doing?"
Yeah.
Oh, there you
Cool.
go.
We got a question. How you doing, Stephen?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for putting this together. I really appreciate it. I think for me, I'm big on boundaries. As you go through like healing process, whatever it may be. So I guess for me, my question is, and for either of you, how much do boundaries play a role? When you're trying to heal and even, try and overcome some of the things from our childhood, and how is it different with friends versus family? If you guys don't mind answering that.
You asked it. Say
Yeah.
it again.
You go ahead, Rob, and I'll come
Yeah,
back to
say
you.
that again. My ADD kicked in.
Yeah,
Say that
yeah.
one more time.
So what I'm asking is, so I think about boundaries, right? So how do you set boundaries? Like, when you're trying to pretty much think about all the things from your past and making sure they do not happen anymore. So for me,
Okay.
it plays a big role for me. So I'm thinking, how do you set those boundaries, and how is it different if it's a friend versus a family member? How do you set those boundaries as you go
It
through the process?
okay. I was like, in what category are you trying to like set it in? I think one. I think you got to establish. I'll take it first. Like you got to establish what your values and boundaries are for yourself. Like for me, one of the things I learned when I was going through my process is a therapist at the time. She had me look at 100 words, and out of like 100 words, she had me circle like the top 20. Right. Then out of the top 20, she had me put like an underline the top 10 words, and out of the top 10 words, she had me put a star by like the absolute like you absolutely cannot have this period. And this comes as far as like relationships, relationships as far as a girlfriend and wife. So for me, the five values that I absolutely got to have, one is adventure, right? Adventure, variety is very important to me. Like I love, when things are just sporadic. I love new experiences. I get bored quick. So adventure is number one. Number two is peace, right? Like I went through my last situation where we argued a lot, and I'm just never going to allow myself to do that again. So peace is absolutely number one. If we can't communicate effectively through regular conversation, we need to just take time to move away, or we don't need to have a conversation. So peace was number two. Number three was laughter. All right, I love laughter. I love fun. Life is meant to be, joyful and happy. So three is laughter. Four was love and unconditional love, right? And I seen that with my son. This is unconditional, no matter whether, I'm right or wrong, this person is gonna always be there for me. Number five, for me, the top value I gotta have was friendship, right? Like my next partner, she's gonna have to be my best friend. So for me, knowing those five values, and I have other ones as well that's important. Those are my top five most important. So once you establish values and boundaries that you're not gonna, let go past you, that's how you gauge others. So, but you set it for yourself, and you just say, all right, does this person deserve my time? Like that's when it comes back to being knowing your worth and loving yourself. Because the better you treat yourself, people gonna treat you how you treat yourself. People gonna allow you to do what they can get away with. Unfortunately, so setting these values and boundaries for yourself first is how I gauge for myself. I don't know about you, Jay. What's your thoughts on that?
Okay.
Okay, you like me now.
Yeah. Yeah. My phone fell. So my bad. So what I was going to say is that you set boundaries based on how you need to operate for yourself. And one of the things that I think that is important is what Rob just said, is knowing what it is that you need. So
Mm,
as you set boundaries, you also set them according to not what you're trying to keep out, but what you need to keep in.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because see, boundary is not about keeping people out or keeping something out. Boundary is about what is it that I need to be able to function to the best of my ability? What is it that I need to function? So if you know that there are certain friends that are very triggering to you, you know what I'm saying? You have to set boundaries where you don't allow them to trigger you. But here's what we do. I want to give y'all this example. Here is what we do. Check this out right here. This is what we do. So this is what's Stephen, right?
Yes, sir.
Stephen, this is you. This is your friend. Your friend is sticking this pen in your hand. And you're wanting your friend to know that they're hurting you by sticking this pen in your hand. So rather than removing your hand, you're waiting for them to acknowledge that they're hurting you. So we will continue to volunteer ourselves to endure pain rather than releasing and removing ourselves, and by creating a boundary that doesn't allow somebody to do this. Because all you have to do is just remove yourself. But what we do is we stay there because I want them to recognize that they're hurting me. But they're not going to recognize that they're hurting you. So that boundary is to recognize what is hurting me and also what is unhealthy and what's not good for me. And once you recognize that, now set boundaries that I know that my friend, my family, they don't have the capacity to acknowledge that they're hitting certain triggers. So, and it's not their responsibility. It's my responsibility to set a boundary, and that sometimes that boundary may be, you know what, I can't go over there and hang out with them. I love them, but every time I go over there, I get set off and I get to drive home with, man, I shouldn't have went over there.
Jay, let me throw this wrench in there. I mean, this is a great example. How is that different if it's a family member? You know, how is that approach different? It's the same.
Yeah, it's not different. The family member just hold a title. But again, if their function is no different than a friend, then I really have to ask myself, why am I enduring this pain, even if it's from a family member?
Exactly.
So it's not any different, and you set your boundaries according to what is it that Stephen needs in order to function at his best ability, to be able to be adequate, to be able to be proficient for work, to be able to show up. And if family don't respect those boundaries, then I now have to set boundaries that I love you guys. I just can't allow you guys in my space.
Yeah, I think I can agree with you both more. You know, I speak to, you know, I think I sent you a message a while back. I grew up in Ghana, and culture plays a big factor. So, you know, some of my friends still back home, you know, they speak to me about, you know, now we have more access to education, internet, all of that. But the hardest part is, you know, when you have to pretty much, like you said, family, hey, no more to this stuff, or tell your closest friend no more to this stuff. But it's hard because it's that cultural component. And so, you know, I'm able to speak to that and kind of advise them. But I think the surrounding also plays a big factor. And I do know it's going to take time for some people, but I agree with both of you that, you know, whether it's family,
and
you have to set that down.
I'll tell you this, Stephen, don't allow fear to stop you from setting a boundary that you need to experience the best version of yourself.
Definitely. Definitely. I agree with you.
Don't allow fear.
On that.
Don't allow fear, brother.
On that. Sure.
Absolutely,
All right.
man. Thank you, brother.
Thank you,
Thanks, bro.
All right. Take care.
All right.
All right.
Right. Robert.
Yes, sir.
Hold on, just close out. So anyway,
Okay.
Rob.
Yes, sir. I'm back. Okay. You good?
Yeah,
You look like me over there.
I'm here.
I'm glad you turned that 90s gospel music on. It was throwing me off.
I'm gonna tell you, listen, no. So I'm gonna tell you.
I was trying to think about 5 questions. I'm like, I hear
no. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell
Auntie
you.
in the background.
No. It wasn't naming gospel. It's instrumentals, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, it's instrumentals. Here is why I use that. I use that because you'll be surprised
Yeah,
how music really shifts atmosphere to unlock things. Like I
absolutely.
have clients that will come in a room. Well, now I'm not going to the office now, but I'm working from home, and
Yeah,
I have something playing in the background, and all of a sudden, man, it just unlocks stuff. It just unlocks
yeah,
stuff because what
yeah.
that music does is that music sort of redirects the thoughts, and
Mm-hmm.
that music allows you to feel safe. So
Mm-hmm.
everything is a strategy for me. And what
No, for
I and,
sure.
and what I needed to happen was without that music, you would not have gone deep as you were because you had a lot going on over there.
Yeah, I
So
did.
I had to arrest the atmosphere.
I think I think that's what helped me.
I had to
It,
arrest the atmosphere, man.
I
So
get
somebody
it.
said, "What's the
I get.
playlist?" The playlist is it's it's like some water instrumental things that I use, man. So yeah, just like David when David played the harp for Samuel. I mean for
Yeah,
Saul. Yeah,
you arrested my attention
yeah. I had to
with that music.
again. I
Yeah.
know Rob. I know Rob. I know Rob, man. Yes, to my brother, yes, this live will be saved. And then also you'll be able to find this live on my YouTube channel. We'll edit it and cut it up and things of that nature. Again, thank you, Rob, for
We ain't done yet. We got 500 people on here. We got
man,
we got.
dude, no, we are done, man. We
They,
are done.
we ain't only answered one question.
Dude,
Yeah, are you are
listen,
y'all want this to be done
listen, it's not what they
or
want. I've seen 7 clients today, brother. It's time for me to
okay,
shut my brain down.
okay. You stop talking, and I'm gonna answer.
No, 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 not
Yeah,
on my line. You're not. Not on my line.
I'm gonna
No,
because I just feel in my spirit. You talk about that music arresting.
no, Rob.
I feel like
I
something.
don't trust your spirit. No, sir.
You
No,
see
sir.
that? Do y'all see this? I just want y'all to see.
All right, Rob. We'll take one more question, man. I'm ready to lay down, man.
Okay. All right. We got one more
What,
question.
Rob? Tell everybody what time I go to bed, Rob.
What, 9 o'clock? 10 o'clock?
Yep, 9:30.
Yeah.
I go to bed at
Yeah.
9:30. I'm ready to
Yeah.
wind down. I saw 7 people today, so we'll take some few more
I
questions.
go to bed at 2:30.
Yeah, that's you. I got to get my rest because I get up and go work out. That's my boundary right there. My boundary is 9:30. I don't care who called my phone
That's
after
very true.
9:30, man. I ain't answer my phone. You can text me, call me, no
I get my
response from me,
second
man.
one.
I gotta go to sleep. So here's what
Hey,
we
I'm
will
up.
do.
I'm
Here's what
ready.
we will do. I'm gonna take 2 questions from ladies that are looking to get something for the man that they know. You
Rick.
right, Ricky. Rob never
Right.
sleeps, man. That's why I don't deal with Rob. That's why I don't deal with Rob.
Hey, there's nobody I know better who takes, boundaries. Jay is like, out of all my friends, when Jay don't want to do something, it don't matter how lit, how turned, Jay absolutely is not going to do it. So he's that question is absolutely perfect because he does not get persuaded. It doesn't matter the situation, the opportunity. Yeah, money doesn't move Jay. Women the most that don't like Jay is out of all my friends. Like I said, he's a man after God's own heart. Like that is David without the
They,
other, killing, what I'm saying, people for, what I'm saying, he the one.
nah,
He the
man.
one.
I got it, man, bro. I mean, you know me. I've been in therapy. I've been on my therapy journey, man. Shoot, ain't there 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And boundaries was important for me because I was a people pleaser.
Yeah.
And I was a people's pleaser because I was always trying to appease people because of my mom's issue. You know what I'm saying? And so I was always trying to I don't,
Yeah.
nah, man. Like everybody know 9:30, bro. Shoot, hey. Now there's every now and then when I'm in Houston next week and we hanging
Yeah.
out, I'll hang
Yeah.
out a little bit with you. But Robbie, we'll go in separate cars, and I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, y'all can have this. I'm out.
Yeah. That's true. Hey, somebody mentioned that Eddie Murphy you got with the shirt open.
Oh yeah. That's one of Eddie Murphy's first comedian albums. Yeah. Yeah.
That was funny.
Okay, somebody asked the
Two
question,
questions.
what can I do to help my son gain confidence in himself? Can you come on, ma'am, if you can, please? That'll help us. That'll help me flow better and answer your question. If you can submit a video to ask that question. Um,
How long should somebody get counseling? You know, when
how
people,
long?
yeah, when they get,
Well, I think it depends on what the presenting issue is, meaning that what is the issue that's at hand. Um, Somebody said people pleasing. Yeah. I'm going to do a segment one day on people pleasing. It's a real syndrome. It's called people pleasing syndrome. But I think it depends on stay in therapy until you feel adequate and feel confident enough with the tools that you have. And that may be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Somebody said, how do you give a young boy space to grieve a father he really didn't know? Just giving him space. And sometimes mothers, here's the thing with young boys, you don't have to, because sometimes as a mom, and my mom used to do this and she learned later on in life, sometimes you can press your sons. And I can tell you this, boys are really no different than men. Most men don't like to be pressed. And nothing wrong with it, ladies, to meaning like you can ask the same thing, are you okay? Are you okay? Once you ask, give them space to process and allow them to come to you in their own time. That's how you give boys space, is allow them to give you your own time. Rob, you see my thing, you can't see it. It just went off. Your bedtime is 9:30. You have 45 minutes. You think I'm playing, dude.
no, I know he's serious. Hey, I'm
You
up.
think I'm playing.
What I'll do, I also say this too while we're waiting on her to call in and ask a question.
Okay.
I think it's healthy, you know, when one of the things that helped me when I was transitioning from, you know, ending the marriage and moving on was therapy, right? Just that a lot of times people, they'll be in a relationship, then they get out, then they immediately start dating again before they know themselves, before they've healed, before they did any of this stuff. So you got to take time, you know, to process that, man. Don't just start something because it's convenient or it's easy, but really take
That's
that time to
good.
love yourself and to heal yourself first, because you're going to attract, you know, if you start something before you're healed, you're going to get in a relationship with another person, different face, same person.
Trauma bonding is what it will be.
Yep.
Trauma bonding.
So take that time and be patient and love on yourself, man. You know, take yourself out on dates by yourself, man. Just get comfortable with being with you and looking
Yep.
yourself in the mirror and being happy and being proud.
Yep.
And you'll attract a lot better relationship
Yep.
then. Sorry about that.
No,
All right,
no
Queen.
word. Yes, ma'am. What's your question?
How you get? So my question was, how do I gain confidence in my son? Like he have a very low self-esteem, and he feel like he's a failure in everything he do,
How old is
even
he?
the things he have. 9 years old,
Wow, man.
and he don't have a father. He haven't had a father since he was born, so he don't have that male mentor that he really needs.
Do
So
do you have any men like where do you live, ma'am?
I live in Las Vegas.
Okay, Las Vegas. There's a program that I donate books to for boys in Las Vegas. I actually just sent some books off. I'm not sure. Is he connected to Las Vegas City Schools? Is he part of that?
Yes.
He is? Okay. So they do have programs for young boys out there, because again, I'm part of it. But I would encourage you, if you could, is he in sports or anything?
No, he is more of a gamer.
He's a gamer.
So he into the game.
So
Yeah.
what you could do is I know there's a few Instagram pages that you can follow, like Real Dash Network, Real Men, different things like that. But he needs something that's more hands-on. So maybe if you can look for an opportunity where he can get with other gamers, like a community of other guys who game, because what he's looking for a sense of belonging. When boys have a sense of belonging, that encourages them to be more of who they want to become. If I'm around other guys who are gaming, who are gamers and they are just excited about games as I am, my confidence automatically increases because I am around guys who like what I like and who do what I do. So I would probably look around to see if there's some camps for gaming or coding, somewhere to put him around kids that reflect who he is and his personality.
Okay.
Yes,
Uh,
All
ma'am.
right.
I'll say, DM me. I'll talk to him.
I did. I think I DM. No, I DM you, Jay, and you
Okay.
take a long time to DM somebody back.
Yeah, man.
But
He
I'm
has
gonna
so
DM
many.
you out.
Yeah.
He has so many DMs. Mine's is dry. I don't really have any DMs. So I have time. No,
So,
but
okay. So, Rob,
yeah,
I love
yes,
you
sir.
and I know you.
I'm gonna do
If
it. What?
no. If you reach out to this young man,
Uh-huh.
be consistent.
Okay.
If you
Please.
be consistent, he's 9 years
Okay.
old. And I'm telling you, this 9-year-old is different from a
Yeah.
15-year-old.
Oh yeah. For
This
sure.
9-year-old won't understand that, hey, I got to go do this business deal. So if you connect
All
with
day.
her, make sure
Yeah.
that you start talking to him, that you help him
Yeah.
even in his expectations. Because I'm going to tell you why. I was that 9-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And the first time somebody did not show up, it destroyed me.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
that's,
I'm Father of the Year. It's about you ain't worry about that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's one thing I do is do that for the kids. But secondly, along with that too, I'm going to need him to reach out and to me, but also with that as well, he has to start getting positive affirmation from you. It starts at home. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the more positive affirmation, because gaming can be like they be talking crazy on them lives and stuff like that. When they talk crazy on there. You know what I'm saying? So you can find out, pinpoint, all right, what is the source of where he's feeling like, why is he feeling like a failure? At 9 years old, right? Because that's a very early age. But then too, like, it's a book out there called The 5 Love Languages of Children. Find out how does he receive love, right? Because sometimes it can be healing, sometimes it can be quality time, and having a father figure or a man there is always an important role. But affirmation, and quality time and love and just like soft love. A lot of times,
yeah.
parents we give each other, because we're taught tough love and what are you doing? I told you to sit down. Like we do that often. And that ain't the way. You know what I'm saying? Like my son, I ain't got to hit my son. My son, I can talk to my son very loudly or look disappointed and he'll cry. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't got to do that. So just finding out for him which way does he receive love, and then making sure you do as much as you can to feel that love take too. I'm in a distance. I'm in Texas, so it's only so much I can do from out here. But he has to be surrounded with that love, appreciation, attention, and then two, like find out where he's the root of that. You know what I'm saying? Because I know with gaming, and cut that off. If they, talking crazy like gaming, but they being there talking crazy, you got to take a season separation. You're going to have to chill from that because you're too young. You ain't even got hair on your stuff yet. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If you feel like no failure. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And somebody said, I guess I do teach Enneagram in my sessions. But yeah, Mom, reach out to Rob.
Yeah.
And I apologize. I am inundated with so many messages.
Yeah.
And Rob would tell you, I mean, after the Breakfast Club interview, I had about 200 men that have been trying to get in to see me. And it's something that
Yeah.
I have spoken to my university on where I graduated from, to figure out how can we get more Black men in the counseling programs, because we need more Black men. And not necessarily that we need Black men to be therapists, but we need Black men to be representation for these young boys. Because at the core of your son, he's really looking for a father. He's looking to be affirmed. And so he's looking for somebody to say, I'll tell you this. And again, I'm going to go biblical. What put Jesus on the course to becoming Jesus was the day that he was baptized and he comes out of the water, this dove ascend down on his shoulder, and the voice said, this is my son in whom I'm well pleased. At that very moment, God validated Jesus to the world. When boys are validated publicly, and somebody said, that's my son, that's my boy, you're going to be good. I know you're going to do well. That's what boys are looking for. And I'm going to tell you why. At 31 years old, I was looking for that from my dad. As Rob spoke about, Rob gets the cars, he gets the house. I'm 30-some years old. I wrote the book. I've been all over the country speaking. I was still looking for my dad to identify, that's my boy. That's my son. I'm proud of him. So that's what your son is looking for. But and here's what, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed because you are mom. Don't worry about being a dad to him.
Yeah.
Be the best mother you can be and provide a safe space for him to be emotionally available, emotionally connected.
Yeah.
And as Rob said, that's a good book for children, The 5 Love Languages for Children. Because each child responds differently.
Yeah.
Because though he may not have dad, you can still provide an environment where he's in touch with his emotions and he doesn't grow up and he suppresses them and he lives his life through resentment and anger.
Yep.
Is that good?
That's good. That's good.
Thank you, ma'am.
Awesome. Thanks, Queen.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you too.
You are.
Oh, Robert, Roberto.
Yes. She having the same technical difficulties as me. I see over here.
Yeah.
She got it.
No, I'm not. I'm still on here.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Okay.
I am stuck.
Yeah, just hit the X, close it out.
See, let me exit out.
Yeah.
Let me exit out.
Yeah, just X out because we can't X you out over here. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. God bless you. As they say, God bless you. God bless you. Amen.
Right,
Amen.
right.
Amen. Amen.
I think this is like all the lives you did. This is like the one is the most transparent, but I've been on my best behavior with this one.
Yes, you
Right?
have, and I'm very proud of you that you've been on your best behavior. Did you take your meds today?
I did.
Okay.
I did, man. So I've been calm. I've been at peace, and I'm great.
So talk about that a little bit, Rod, because you've been diagnosed with ADHD. What is that like to take medication? Because there's some people who are against medication, but like you and I talk about it all the time.
Yeah, I was joking about me taking medication. I do get some if I want to focus. I got hit the Adderall and stuff late, right? Like super late. Like I found out everybody was using it to get through college and all that stuff. And I'm like, why? Why I never been told about it? But what's crazy is talk about this, trauma. I just found out probably 2 years when my dad was living, probably the last 6 months. I was in something called Landmark Forum, and I was talking to my dad and he was having a transparent conversation, and he was like, "Oh yeah, when you were in kindergarten, they diagnosed you with ADHD, but we said Jesus is gonna handle it. We not putting that on him."
Wow.
And they never. I didn't know. I'm like, they really told me this? Like, so you you whooped me like that, knowing I can't sit down?
So they were whooping you and beating you, knowing that you had a diagnosis, but they was And so here's a message to those that are watching. I'm a firm believer in God.
Yeah.
Believe in miracles, but I also believe in the power of psychopharmacology, meaning that I believe that God has blessed certain individuals with the intellect and the ingenuity to understand that medication can balance them from a biochemical and from a physiological perspective.
Yeah.
There are some kids that need the medication. Or in adults, it's ADD. There are some individuals that need medication for bipolar, schizophrenia, those things, because those things are more chemical imbalances.
Yeah.
And so sometimes church, we spiritualize everything And there are some things that need to be tended to from a professional and from a medical perspective. Because now here it is, you are 38 years old, and now you have an understanding. The whole time you guys was beating me, I just had an attention deficit disorder.
Yeah, I did, but you know, a whooping did help. Then, like I remember in the fourth grade, that's the last time my dad whooped me. My mom, when I was in high school, she was still on me and stuff like that. But for my father, you know, I remember I was in class and I was just, you know, I'm lit, you know, and I seen him peek through that like that mirror at the door, and I was like, you know,
Yeah,
oh,
that
I
was,
ain't moved,
bro. That was
I ain't moved.
That was fear, and you were
It,
traumatized.
Right. No, oh, it didn't stop there, but you're right. So when we left, I'm leaving. He's like, oh, we got a date. And my siblings know when my dad would be like, oh, we got a date, that means you about to get tore up. So I remember, you know, coming home, because my dad didn't whoop me often, you know, probably twice in my whole life. But I remember when he whooped me so bad, I was like bleeding, right? Because you know the metal part of the belt,
Oh my
you
God.
know? So like, I'm like, bleeding in certain parts, you know, not like Passion of Christ, nothing like that, but you know, I was bleeding, right? And and I remember going up like after it got done, right? After I could walk again. I remember going upstairs and looking at my mom like, I know you heard me down there, you know, screaming, and
Wow.
she just looked at me and she was just like, she just looked at like my mom never really went against, you know, my father, but I can tell she was sad, you know, but like that was the last whooping I got. But you know, miraculously, I was a straight A student. I was not. It wasn't playing again. You
Yeah.
know, but I don't put that on anybody. You know, at all. But you know, that's it. Did a whooping did help
Yeah. Yeah.
me be
And
able to sit down.
a whooping was really
Whooping.
a whooping or whipping, or I grew up in the South where you got a whooping. And so I want to answer the question that somebody asked me, do I believe that you can self-heal from those things? Here's what I will say, and I said this last week when I was in Jamaica. I think when you bring theology and spirituality together and connect it with mental health, there's an opportunity for holistic healing.
Mm.
There's an opportunity for holistic healing. I do think there are some things that naturally that you can do to minimize symptom of behavior disorders that are associated with attention deficit disorders, right? I do believe that. Somebody asked about postpartum prognosis or diagnosis or something like y'all making me tap into my PhD and all that different type of stuff. But here's what I will say: postpartum is real.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I have worked with women who've gone through postpartum depression, because I've had the opportunity to work with so many clients from various walks of different diagnoses. And one of the things is the regulation of your body. That's what it is. Your hormones are all over the place. Anytime a woman has a baby, it resets her body. It resets her body. There are some things that women that are not able to eat after they have a baby. Your body goes through all different changes. And so what is happening is your brain hasn't adjusted to the changes that your body has gone through. And so mentally, your emotions haven't adjusted. And so those things, and as I believe, especially when it comes to Black women, I'm not going to get into that because I'm very passionate, because my sisters and them have gone through different challenges through pregnancies, and we all know the challenges that women, you know, go through, a Black woman when she goes in to have a baby. So one of the things is that there are very few, I won't say very few resources, but these resources are somehow don't become available for Black women when they go through these things. So I like to normalize that postpartum is real, because I work with men on being able to adjust even your perception of your wife after she's had a baby. Because childbirth is very traumatic, if we can be honest. It's very traumatic.
Closer you get to death.
And so again, it's as close as a woman is going to get to death.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I just wanted to answer those questions. As it is coming on our time, it is 9:01.
Yes.
You know, I got
Did good.
29 minutes before, you know, before I start to shut down. But again, brother, love you, Rob. Thank you,
Love you too, man.
for doing this tonight, man. And appreciate your transparency. appreciate your openness and your willingness to be vulnerable, man.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate that, and appreciate you too for just making a space for, man, what you're doing as far as like the interview. If you haven't seen the Breakfast Club interview, powerful. You haven't seen 99% of what this guy does is powerful, man. So I want to affirm you once again. Always proud of you. You know what I'm saying? Love what you're doing. Integrity, transparency, vulnerability. Like, in any way, like I said, I told you, I can be a blessing to that. I'm always going to do that. And lastly, what I'll leave everybody with is take this time just to, be gentle with yourself. Like, as you go through these times, and a lot of people, that DM me now, they're have anxiety with, like, just they may have graduated school and they don't know what to do next, or they may have lost a job, or, just like right now, especially Mercury retrograde and all those things like that, it's just a really intense time where just center yourself. Like, meditation is so very important. I start my day meditating. I don't look at my phone until I've meditated. I get 20, 30 minutes. I put something on immediately that's affirming me, that's telling me who I am. I get in a journal. I write goals. I got over 500 goals written down. And then, as I go through my day, it's pictures of my preferred future, right? So even if you're in a place where you don't want to be, a secret you can do is put pictures up along the wall. Put your statements, like, say, I'm so happy and grateful now that, and you speak into the future, those things that you want to be. But you got to focus on the feeling and feeling good now, right? That's one of the best things, pieces of advice I can give you. We all have these things we speak into existence and we want, and we know to think positive, but the feeling, you staying in a constant state of joy, happiness, love, regardless of whatever situation you're going through. If your account's negative, if if you don't have a loved one, you start giving yourself that love. You start treating yourself like you are that multimillionaire, like that billionaire. You start giving yourself that now and those feelings of having and staying in that moment and writing it down. Write it down. Write exactly how you want your life to be in 5 minutes before you go to bed. And when you wake up in the morning, live in that experience throughout your day. Set an intention. Just let your day go and let your day dictate what's going to happen. You speak it, you create it, you feel it. You put music on that makes you feel good, and you walk it out. That's the best piece of advice I can do. But stay connected to Jay and everything he's doing. And once again, like I said, if there's anything y'all need from me, I'm there as well.
Awesome, brother. Well, there you have it, people. Thank you guys for staying on with us tonight. Tune
Appreciate
in
y'all.
next Thursday. I have the good brother, lyrical legend. I'm so honored to have him be a part of this series. Royce the 5'9". I can't wait to talk to him about the transition he's made as a father, not only as a musician and a rap artist, but just how he's healed as a man. So tune in next Thursday, guys, 7 o'clock Central Time. Thank you, Rob. Much love to everybody. And remember, healing is a journey, and wholeness is the destination. Healing is a journey, and wholeness is the destination. And that road is yeah. There you go. Yeah. So,
I heard all I heard is a hoe in there. I wanted you to make sure you
dude, stop. So again, healing is the journey, and wholeness is the destination. Wholeness.
Got it.
Thank y'all, and good night.
Good night.